Alright, welcome back after a while. Let's begin with the basic idea here. So, we're going to dive into how to get your neural network working really well by focusing on the key practices like data splitting, hyperparameter tuning, and even a little bit of debugging when things don't go as planned. So, let's begin with the basic idea. Imagine you're preparing for a big race. You just don't run one practice run and call it a day. You have a different session, training session, practice, races, and finally the race day, where you show your true ability. Similarly, in machine learning, we split our data into three parts: training set, development set, and test set. The training set is like your daily practice. The dev set is like your friendly match, and the test set is the final race which will give you unbiased evolution. Now, I remember when I first started deep learning, I would just mix all data together and expect magic to happen. But then I realized that without proper splits, you end up overfitting to your test data. Your results are just not reliable, so you make sure you always carve your dataset appropriately. So in traditional machine learning, folks used to use 70 by 30 splits or even 60-20-20 when it came to training tail and test set. But today with big data, you might end up with something like 98% for training and only 1% for development or test each. The goal here is to ensure your jail set is big enough to compare different model configurations quickly, and your test set gives your final unbiased measure. I want to share quick story. So I once spent hours tuning my model and I accidentally used the test set for validation. Now when I looked at the performance, uh, it was too good to be true. So soon I found out I had peeped at the answer. That mistakes taught me the importance of always keeping the test set untouched until the very end. Let's now go into some code. I'll show you some simple example using Python and Keras where we split the data, build a basic neural network model and train it. So here's our code. In the script, we're first going to generate a fake dataset, but remember, in real life data is much more complex. We then split the data into training, development, and test set using scikit-learn. Notice how training data is much larger so that our model can really learn. While the development set is used to test different configurations, the test set remains untouched during tuning, and we only evaluate on it once we have our final model. Now let's talk about the iterative process of hyperparameter training. Every time you build a model, you have to choose number of layers, number of neurons per layer, the learning rate, and what activation functions to use. Think of it like cooking. If you add too much salt at once, you can ruin the soup. Instead, you add little bit at a time, test and adjust. And this process is highly iterative. Each experiment teaches you something new, and even experienced deep learning practitioners often need several rounds of trial and error. Now, what we have to remember is keeping track of your experiments. Write down which parameter you changed, which results you saw on your geoset. This record will help you understand what works best for your dataset and problem. Now, one more important point: sometimes you might have all the data coming from your different distributions. For example, your training data could be scrapped images from the internet, but your development and test sets might be images that will be uploaded from the users in the real time. It's really crucial that development and test set come from the same distribution so the evaluations are consistent. And to wrap up, always maintain proper distinctions between training, dev, and test sets. This will help you iterate faster and avoid pitfalls like overfitting. And don't worry if you make few missteps along the way. Each mistake is a learning moment. And thank you for sticking with me through this one. In upcoming videos, we're going to explore more about hyperparameter tuning, diving deep into the practical coding examples, and you can drop any questions if you got, and feel free to pause at any any moment if you feel that you need to learn more. And yeah, I'll I'll add this link in the description so you guys can refer this code and understand the whole thing. Until then, keep learning and keep exploring.